Hello. I'm just realizing I'm just getting a notification that I have lost reconnect to your destination. Sorry, all. You're seeing me have fun with LinkedIn. Give me 1 second. Here we go. It says beautiful. Your destination is reconnected. You're good to go. Hello, all. Welcome to Living Well today, in spite of technology sometimes. I'm Angela, and thank you so much for being here for episode 39. Today we are talking about workplace well-being, well-being at work and beyond the overwhelm. And it's easy for people to say, I'm overwhelmed. Well, maybe not so easy sometimes out loud. They could be feeling it. Maybe sometimes there's some shame about saying it out loud, and I honor that. I recognize that. But when you do hear the word or you think about it, or you see a headline about it, like for today's show, what comes to mind when you think of overwhelm? So we're going to talk about what that looks and feels like in the workplace. And we're going to talk a little bit of science as well in support of simply as evidence of the impact that overwhelm can have on your focus, your creativity, your collaboration. And ultimately, if you're a business owner here, the the productivity, the profits, the culture, all of those things feed into the customer, client, patient experience, certainly the bottom line of the organization. And there are many, many case studies from Harvard and Stanford, lots of places affirming what I'm talking about in terms of the impact when you have employees who are overwhelmed. And hopefully they're still your employees and haven't just simply left the organization, right? Which there's a drain on talent right now too. Why is that? So I'm going to do my very best to stick to my 30 minutes, now probably more like 28 minutes that I have to honor your time here too. So whether you're watching this on live or replay, which most people watch on replay, this is put on live each week, Wednesdays at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard, and it's done on LinkedIn Live, YouTube Live, and then 2 Facebook pages, my own personal, because I have lots of colleagues and friends there, and also on the Living Well Today Facebook page, which can be found at Living Well Channel. So if you ever do want to take it in live during your lunch break or for wherever you're at in the world, I'll see you then and there. So overwhelm. What does it look like? I want to start, or I try to often begin with a note of inspiration or something that causes us, a quotation, something that causes us to pause and reflect. And it's the author of this quotation is unknown, but and I say it in many different ways, but over time I have, you can't pour from an empty cup. So when you are in overwhelm, that is exactly where you are. Your cup is empty. So part of overwhelm is really the essence of what we talk about every week, learning how to refill that cup, to re-energize, to see how and reflect on how are you running energy in your body. And if you're an owner here and you have a sense that either one or more of your employees are in a state of overwhelm, and maybe it's simply because you're coming into a time. I have a client, for example, who has open enrollment for insurance. And so when they're coming into open enrollment time and group benefits, et cetera, it can be seen. It pops its head up out of the sand, right? More than other times in the year. So, or when a company is going through a merger or is getting new ownership altogether, or a new boss, or right, typically triggered by a lot of change or added tasks or deadlines. So, what does overwhelm look like as it's reflected in the workplace? It can mean a particular individual suddenly is seeming less engaged. They're not contributing. They're not offering insight or ideas in a brainstorming session like they might normally in a meeting, in a Zoom, whether they're virtual or on site. You can pick up on this. If someone's simply sitting back, if their body language literally looks like they've retreated and they're closed down or closed off, the rounded shoulders, the hunch down, the looking down. They're not open, they're not looking up, they're not leaning in. So our body language is going to communicate 80%, right? The other 20% manifests in missed deadlines, mistakes, more prevalent mistakes in their work, maybe, than what has been seen in the past. Um, Absent, they simply miss a meeting altogether, or they miss a day of work and then another day of work. So absenteeism is a sign that that person is in overwhelm, is compromised in some way. Irritability. So you're noticing that they're snapping or cutting you short, maybe not listening. Their reactions are not commensurate with the circumstance, the situation. So their reaction is way overblown. Those are all signs. And I think retreat, big retreating. So when someone is normally in a meeting, as I said, and your team is brainstorming an idea that directly impacts them, it's sort of understandable, right? If it's about a different department, if it's and they're kind of, waiting in the water here. But if it directly affects them and involves them, and they're not actively involving themselves or contributing in a way they might normally, that's a sign of overwhelm. Um, Easily breaking down, literally, emotionally showing some kind of signs of impatience. Their pace of voice has done something very different. Their tempo around the office has noticeably changed. You and I, we all can see and feel energy. You may not label it that way, but when someone is depleted, like even myself today, I felt a little bit of, I've got my AC broke, and in Florida right now at 98 degrees, when your AC breaks, that's stressful. So the AC broke. Um, Someone broke the back deck. So the contractors were in and out. And I had a disagreement with someone that I care about, or maybe not a disagreement, a breakdown in understanding. Um, my daughter's texting me because she's has questions about money. So it's been an interesting morning already. Yay. And actually 8 minutes before I started the program, now I welcome these calls. I had a client who wanted to philosophize about vision and envisioning, which is some of the work that I do and I've done for their company. And he wanted to crystallize his thinking about something. He called 8 minutes before. Well, I wanted to take the call, right? But then I'm a little bit late onto the call. Well, in any event, you have to know how to self-check on where your energy is at. So I stepped out immediately. I stepped out into nature, which is a wonderful recharge. I did a simple set of 7-minute energy exercises that I do, and to reconnect myself all the way through. And I listened to the water, I listened to the birds, I recentered myself, literally did a grounding, what I call a grounding exercise, and moved my body, stretched, jogged in place, came back in and drank a bunch of water. Now, I know that sounds oversimplified, but a dear human to me keeps telling me about this kiss. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. And I won't say, I got to come up with a different, it's keep it simple, short. How's that? Not keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple, short. So the idea is that the body is the first place that's dramatically affected by overwhelm. So, which is chronic depletion of energy. Overwhelm is chronic depletion. Your cup is empty. You have not put yourself in a resourceful spot physically and mentally and emotionally. So each of those require their own little tool out of the tool belt, right? So I've shared how to recognize it. The impact is vast. I pulled a bunch of studies over the last several months to hone in specifically on impact of job dissatisfaction. And so much of it is rooted in overwhelm and anxiety. So flow, which I've studied a great deal about, I looked at Mihai, I'm going to think of his name. Let me think, how do I pronounce his last name? Mihai Csikszentmihalyi on flow. He's kind of the master of flow. And I looked just out of curiosity because a friend mentioned this book to me this morning. I always date my books. So I date the books. I write a date in the book so I can have a chronological reference point of where was I at that time when I took in that insight. It's interesting because as I do that, sometimes I'll go back as an exercise and see in my journals and even on social media timelines what types of posts I was doing at that time, or emails that I was sending, or words that self-talk words that I was saying to myself, and see how they shift, as a result of, see the patterns that shift as a result of that insight. And Mihai says flow is really boiled down to remaining in a state that is between these 2 points. If you could imagine a graph, a quadrant, and you have stress and anxiety, monotony and boredom. And if you can stay in the center of those, you are in a state of flow. State of flow is, you just can't go wrong on the basketball court or on the golf course that day. State of flow is everything just seems to go easily. I mean, literally, you get all the green lights on the street as you're driving. Everything feels like all green lights. And you're immersed in that moment for the sake of the moment. And so when job dissatisfaction, discontentment, overwhelm comes into play, something in those quadrants is amiss. And so what you want all your employees in flow all over the time, right? Now, having flow continuously is probably not practical. We are human and we do live on planet Earth, and we're talking about the workplace. Lots of factors that are outside of our control, of our inside world, right? And so when you have a new boss, when you have new coworkers, a new job role altogether, a new company culture being merged with your culture, there's so much change, so much flux. It's very natural to get booted about in your own flow and your understanding of where you are. So, what are some tools to help foster and re-innovate not only you, first and foremost, but then everyone you touch, the work that you're focusing on, why you're focusing on that work? Are you resourceful when the added deadline comes, or the deadline is moved up, or your boss decides they didn't come in a resourceful place. They're not in flow. And then that spills all over on you. How do you cheer yourself up? We go back to the kiss. we go back to keep it simple, short. The harmony method. It's where I go. Here and now. Take stock of literally your five senses. What can you taste, see, touch, smell, feel right where you are? That gets you back here in the present moment where you're most resourceful, okay, to fill your cup back up. Appreciation and going through your appreciation journal, appreciation mindset, appreciation checklist. You may not have all the energy you need right now, but you are here. And someone entrusted you enough with the role that you're playing in your work, right? That says something really important. If you're a mom, you did it. You're doing it. Whether you're a single mom or you have support in a full partnership, all of those things, taking stock of where the resources and the things that you have to bear, that you do have to bear, and coming back to a place of recognizing that. So practicing present moment, that's your first step. Get the drink of water on your body, get the drink of water, step away from the desk, stretch and move your body. If you can, get out in nature, go for a walk, find a nearby park. So first, do a self-check on the environment that you're in. You're swimming in a soup at work. You have no choice but that. Whether it's virtual or on site, you're in that soup. So by you recentering yourself, stepping into nature, taking those 4, I'm going to show you, it's a count of 4, an inhale of 4. So inhale on 4 beats. Hold for 4 beats. Exhale for 4 beats. Try it again and again. And it's literally calming your nervous system. It's sending signals to the brain to get out of flight. Get out of flight. That you're safe. So inhale on beat of 4. Hold for a beat of 4. Exhale for a beat of 4. Now you're breathing again. Try it again and go deeper and deeper into your belly. Babies know how to breathe better than we do. So go deep into your belly. It might not feel deep at first, but just like any muscle, your diaphragm and your entire cavity will begin to soften. And as it softens, with the breath coming in, the breath supports it to expand. And over time, you'll feel deeper and deeper. And as you can get deeper and deeper, not only is that more oxygen in your bloodstream into your brain, into all of your organs and cells, but it also has a way of evening out your energy and getting the energy unstuck wherever it is. Most of it is stuck up in here, right in here. From your rib cage up, that's where most of our energy gets stuck. Okay, through office work and through driving and metaphorically pushing our shoulder into something, so that getting past this and not breathing up here, but breathing deep or low into your belly. Think of it like when you blow air into a balloon, what happens? So think of this down here around your belly button, your navel, your balloon, and just allow that breath, that air to sink deeper and deeper. So once you are breathing again, step out of the soup. If you can, even just go to the restroom, go into the stall in the restroom, do your breaths. Now you're safe in a stall by yourself. And what else can you do? You can anchor a state of your energy in a more resourceful state. We've gone over this before by what Dr. Amy Cuddy calls power posing. If you want to look her up, it's Cuddy, but I've taught my clients and work with them on this a lot. And power posing increases your testosterone, which is your power, your strength hormone, and decreases your cortisol, the stress hormone, conversely. So as your testosterone increases and the cortisol decreases, you are in a state more and more of resourcefulness, of your own power. You're controlling the hormones, you're impacting them, right? And all we're trying to do is get to a level of stasis right now. So power posing is based on this. You can't sit like this. You can't sit closed in. You literally have to make your physical footprint as big as you possibly can. Think peacock. Think gorilla pounding his chest in the jungle, right? Go to the animal kingdom. Think about a runner who crosses the finish line first in a race. The arms, or a champion who, who just won the Stanley Cup. What happens? Arms fly up in the air. Bodies are big, jumping, etc. Power posing, you hold the pose as big as you possibly can, the champion pose, for 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Performance has been demonstrated that it increases by a minimum of 18 to 20% in performance. In a sport, in a job interview, in a presentation, in a negotiation, power pose, it works. So we've got you breathing. We got you stepping out of the soup, feeling safe and getting your energy moving. Move your body, get out into nature, walk around the loop of the office, whatever you can to get your energy moving. The breath will center you. If you can be in nature, go into nature. Once you're there, what are you going to say to yourself? Because the self-talk, you can talk yourself right into more overwhelm and go deeper down the rabbit hole, or you can reframe the conversation that you're having with yourself. I know I am more resourceful. I know I am filling up my cup. I know that I am my own best resource and that I am not of the problem. I am bigger than anything that could be tossed my way. You are not of the problem. The problem is happening, okay? It's there. The deadline is there. The boredom or the confusion or the lack of understanding or the angst amongst coworkers, it's there. All you can do, all I am doing is I am tending to my own garden, and I can do that. I know how to do that for myself, and I'm already doing it. I'm breathing. I am moving my body. I am in the present moment, and I understand my power to change or to shift my own circumstance. I am the hero of my own story. Okay, you see the difference between, and I get it, let it out first. If there's a little bit left in your cup and all that's in your cup is spit, or all that's in your cup is venom, dump that out first. Get rid of it. It's not serving you. Throw it all up. And then after you get it all out, do you really want it back? Looking down at that nasty proverbial crap on the ground, do you really want to take that and stuff it back into your body? You really want that? So get rid of it, spew, do whatever you need to do to get it out, and then transmute it into something that actually serves you for feeling better, for then coming to the work, whatever the work is. And that work, you can say to yourself, I am moving towards I am taking steps to move myself towards more purposeful work that I am happy about, that I'm proud of, that I'm moving toward that. And while I may not see all of the solutions and the answers to that right now, I'm aware of it, which is already moving me toward a solution. Because here's the thing, friends, your job is not the how ever in anything. And I learned this a long time ago, and it's probably one of the more challenging lessons to embody. 'Cause our entire culture is wired for how. What are the tactics? How are we getting this done? Right? But when it comes to overwhelm, you you must please take stock of what you can control. And what you can control is your reaction to the circumstances that are swirling around you. And what I can assure you is that if you are anxiety ridden, the breath will help. Nature will help. The words you're saying to yourself help. There is absolute scientific proof. And I learned this through my work with Harvard Medical. And I throw that in there only as evidence for those of you with the left monkey mind that needs to have that validation that this is real information, that this is the goods, okay? If you are miserable, if you're feeling anger and resentment, miserable, if you force a smile, the muscles and the nerve endings by going like this on your face signals to your brain to release serotonin. And you feel better. Maybe not in the instant, but give it a minute. It maybe took you 20 minutes to get to miserable. Maybe took you 20 years to get to miserable. Give it a minute, right? Give it some credence. But this is science, folks. Anything that we talk about is always supported. It's amazing. And what we know for sure is that all of what science knows, but what happens in your brain and body through self-talk and the words that you say, through breath, through your physiology, all that we know, there are 10,000 times that we don't yet. So there is also a measure of faith. Do you have faith when your child is born? Do you have faith that your child, when the time is right, probably about 18 months or so, that your child's going to begin to try and walk? And do you teach them how to walk? You just say, they're going to walk. They're going to crawl first. And then they're going to get up on the edge of the table. They're going to balance themselves. And then their muscles are start to get it. And the wires in the brain start to connect. The neurons, right, start to fire. And they have the confidence innately to go. You have to have faith in yourself, in other humans. This idea that I have no faith in other people. Wow, that's a sad world that you live in. And that's an active choice that you're making. So, on creativity, on collaboration, on your focus, after you have done some breath work, stepped away, reframed what you're saying to yourself, the story that you're telling yourself, what next? If you can begin to set rituals for yourself. Now, you already have some in place. You couldn't get to work and do the functions that you do as a parent or as an employee or an entrepreneur at all without some rituals. But can you codify what those are? Can you deepen them? Can you give them more meaning? The simplest of rituals So in the work that you do every day and when you're at home, can you attach significance to the smallest of things? So because sometimes what we do is the overwhelm comes in when we think about the 30 things in front of us. and, and what's this person going to think? And what's this person going to think? Am I going to get the job? Am I going to get we get way out ahead of us, right? But it is in the steps, I've talked about this often, it's these realizations of where resourcefulness and ease and contentment and peace within us come from. It's kensho, the Japanese kensho. It's in the small steps, the nuance, the small actions that build big outcomes. Small wonders, big joy. Remember that show from a few weeks ago? Small wonders, big joy. Kensho in the Japanese culture is about the slow unfolding. Satori is big explosion, like big aha, breakthrough moments. We have those, we get those, but life is more like kensho. It's more like layers. And so all you want to do is slow down the car. You don't have to go. A friend of mine said, you were going 100 miles an hour and you hit the brakes. You don't have to go from 100 miles an hour to zero in your overwhelm. You just have to say, how can I slow it down? And as I slow it down, a releasing happens. If you're using these tools, tapping into these tools, you already have inside of you, your body already knows and your brain already knows. It's so big. It already knows how to regulate you. You are a teacher of it for sure. But if the teacher can sometimes just get out of the way, and in essence, I guess I say that the breath and the walking and the spending time in nature and the stretching and moving your body, you're teaching yourself then too. But you see the nurturing of that kind of teaching. Do you understand? Can you feel it right now? The nurturing of when you say loving and supportive things to you, like, I am smart. I know I am resilient. I know I have the tools to do this if I just take stock, I slow it down, and I give it space to be. That's what meditation is about. So a next step could also, aside from kind of codifying what are those rituals, are you journaling? Are you stretching in the morning? Are you meditating even for 5 to 10 minutes? 15 to 20 minutes is ideal. Can you do it? Can you begin? Can you begin? 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 6 minutes. There are lots of meditations that I have on my YouTube channel. And I also always recommend the Calm app. There are lots of apps that you can download and pick what's right for you, and begin with guided, so that's easier. And as you do just those 4 or 5, I don't want to give you too many things to take away, but I just want to say one final exercise. As you do the meditations, as you do the breath work, as you go through appreciation and you codify the times you have been strong before, write them down. Write down, we talked about this last week or a couple weeks ago, your courage. If you're living right now and you've been through the pandemic and you've been through and you're at work and you've been a single parent and you've gone through the divorce and you've started a company, you've exemplified courage so many times over. So you have it for this too. And if you're a business owner, Do you have the courage, I guess, to help support a culture that nurtures well-being? You have control over that. Are you exercising that control in a meaningful and impactful way for your people? Because as you do it for your people will do it for their customers, your customers, your business. They're there for you. They're there for themselves, but ultimately the work that they do and the talent and the wherewithal and the energy and the time that they invest, yes, they're getting something in return. You are the benefactor of that collective. That's a big responsibility to give back, to exchange energy in a healthy way and support them for where they're at on their journey, and to help assure that they have the tools ever present and aware that they have access to the tools to help them release the overwhelm and to transmute it into productivity, to transmute it into collaboration, to transmute the overwhelm into focused, effective, meaningful work. Are you exercising that control? You cannot ask of your team what you're not prepared to do for yourself. So one final question, and I'm at the 40-minute mark instead of the 30-minute mark. Oh, well. And my AC guys are going to be here soon anyway. So cool it all down in here. um, what would you say to yourself a year from now? If it's a year from now and you are confident and you are running your energy seamlessly and you seem to have it all together, and the work that you're doing, you feel on purpose. You feel like you're making a difference, that it matters, the work that you're doing. That person say to this person, what would they say? In order for you to become that person that's resourceful, contented, satisfied, at ease with their work in the world, what would you have to start doing to be that? And what would you have to stop doing to be that? I'll take it one step further because it's where be, do, have, right? What do you have to start being? What do you have to stop being? And when I say stop, you know that I never, if you know me at all, if you've watched any of my stuff, my content, that I always am mindful of working toward reframing a word that feels empowering. I don't know if stop feels empowering to me. Does it to you? Doesn't it feel, it feels disempowering, doesn't it? Like you're cutting off something. I don't like that. So let's reframe that right now together. What can you start doing and being to become that person that has got it humming well and feels well at work and at home? And what can you release? What can you let go of? What can you say goodbye to? Yeah, I like that better. That feels better, doesn't it? It feels better to me. So, all right. Now we're on 39 minutes, 14 seconds. Thank you all for joining. And for those of you who watch this on replay, if you would like to implement these lessons, the things that we share, if you'd like to have a safe space for conversation around it, if you'd like to begin to adopt more readily some of the tools that I talk about, and you wouldn't necessarily know how to go about all of that on your own. You know, we all need guidance. We all need that wisdom and support and sounding board. Yeah. I'd love to be that and do that for you and with you. And so reach out to me. You can email me at bloom@angelamoonin.com. You can find me very easily online as well. And for living well today, I wish you all the blessings of being and doing and feeling the very best that you can right here, right now. Bye for now.